for tuning in. In fact, you're just in time for us to have a conversation on careers, looking at promotion in particular and what it actually takes to get there. Because we've seen that now things are changing, or are they? When we look at, career progression and how we often look at it from a very linear perspective and a linear formula, as it were. Hard work, then deliver the results, and then the promotion will naturally follow. That's what we assume. But is that really the case? Because for many professionals, the reality is far more complex than that. While performance remains important, factors such as visibility, relationships, and sponsorships can also influence who moves into leadership roles and who remains where they are. At the same time, questions persist about whether women and younger professionals continue to face barriers that slow down that advancement, as we noted. So let's unpack this and look at it from a professional perspective, and also just unpack what really influences promotional decisions in the workplace and the advancement of the work that we are doing. On the line with me, Lisa Matomola, HR consultant and job find coach, also the chief executive officer of the Institute of People Management in Namibia. Thank you for your time, Lisa. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mateko, for having me, and good morning to the listeners.
Thank you very much, Lisa. We all want to be promoted. We all want to be seen and heard and promoted and taken to the next level. Next level. But is there something that we're missing here in this particular puzzle? Are we still thinking of promotion in how it was done in 1995? What exactly has changed?
Thank you so much, and a very great question, and also a very necessary or relevant topic to discuss right now, because one of the things I actually talk about lately is the fact that to get in an interview is one thing. You pass the interview, you get the job, and you start your work. However, getting promoted requires more than just qualifications. Lately, I've also been talking about how you find professionals who mistake collecting qualification in the hope of the fact that they will get promoted. But with promotions comes quite a lot. We often say sometimes that for you to get promoted in an organization, you need to start operating at the next level. And what does the next level mean? It means that sometimes it's all about doing work that is not only limited to your scope, but also showing that you're ready for more responsibility, because a promotion is not only an action in terms of a salary, but it means that you are ready for more responsibility, accountability, at times even managing people, depending on what the promotion requires. So when it comes to promotion, it's not just about doing your job and arriving on time. It requires really a lot, showing that you're really ready to lead, ready to have conversation at a broader scope. If you are in a company that is about business development and profit, are you actually talking the business language as well? Do you actually understand the reason that you are there? What else are you doing beyond your day-to-day job? We are not talking about being exhausted, but just making sure that you contribute more than what is expected of you.
Right, just contributing a little more. It sounds like it makes sense, Lisa, but let's unpack it. I was actually having a conversation with a colleague earlier, Pitandoro, and we were talking about, going that exact sentiment that you're sharing here about going the extra mile, but not burning yourself out at the same time. Is it a passion thing? Is it about Lisa being more passionate than Matshego in terms of how she doesn't only open the door, but is maybe teaching other people how to open the door? I mean, what exactly does going the extra mile look like in terms of really having the eye on the prize of a promotion?
Talking about passion, there's actually something that we also refer to as passion exploitation. So sometimes passion can also, depending on the type of organization as well, and also the individual in the team. And that's why we often say that for managers, it's also important to develop everyone, because the moment other people are poor performers, the ones that are passionate can easily be exploited. We call it passion exploitation. There are
Mm-hmm.
people who actually really love their job, but for some, it's just that sometimes the others are those ones that say it's not in my job description, or do it yourself. It's above my pay grade. So the ones that are good employees, they will step in, or sometimes they also understand to say this time of the year, we are required to actually give more, because also with promotion, we are not saying every day you need to slave yourself out, but it's just to show that potential. Do you talk in meetings, for instance? Do you contribute? Do you do research? Do you understand what is going on? Because sometimes people who get promoted, it's not the people that run around or they have energy. It's just the people that show that they understand where the company is going, what's happening. They solve problems. They are innovative. They are creative, and very, very important. What I can highlight is the fact that it's also not about performance only. Last week I was facilitating training, and we notice that there are people who are really good at what they do, but behaviors, we have what we call counterproductive behaviors. Maybe you are always absent. You take time to do your work. Some people are perfectionists, but you constantly miss deadlines. But when you give us the work, it's great work. However, or some people always full of excuses. I'm working with a company right now moving to remote work. So you also find people are working from home, but they are unavailable. So should we promote such kind of people? So it's more than just your performance. It's also those behaviors that are required, because performance is 75% and 25% is your behavior. And some companies, they actually say 70/30, or 80/20 in some cases.
Right. Very important discussion. And in fact, I want us to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at workplace dynamics, and if those
Mm.
are conducive to actually give people opportunities to be promoted. Is it about is the are these promotions influenced by how you perform, or is it about proximity to power? That's another question.
Mm.
Let's take a break and return.
Women who lead, women who lift, women who inspire. African woman. This is Women's Month on Channel Africa.
Vue d'Afrique avec Joël Mouteba.
Dans notre segment dédié à la femme africaine, aujourd'hui, nous partons à la rencontre d'une artiste qui fait de la danse un véritable moyen d'expression. Elle nous rejoint en ligne depuis la République démocratique du Congo, Isabelle Amouli, danseuse contemporaine professionnelle depuis 3 ans. Elle évolue entre création en solo et travail collectif au sein de la compagnie Joua, qui a fait sa première apparition officielle samedi dernier en marge de la Journée mondiale de la danse. Isabelle s'est également illustrée sur scène, notamment au ADC Urban Festival. Elle est avec nous pour partager son parcours, son univers artistique et ses ambitions.
Je suis une danseuse contemporaine. J'ai dansé depuis 2014 et là, je dansais juste pour la famille, le fan et la bonne vibe. Et après, c'est à 2023 que j'ai décidé d'en faire une profession. Alors, j'ai décidé de danser pour aider aussi ma communauté.
Vue d'Afrique. Du lundi au vendredi de 15h à 16h, temps universel.
Ways of working on the channel.
Welcome back. Lisa Matomola, HR consultant and job finder coach, is joining me on the line, and we are exploring ways to progress, career progression, as it's often seen as, you get to work, you work hard, you deliver the results, and then the promotion will follow. But that's not always the case. So we are unpacking the complexities that surround, what it actually takes to get a promotion in the workplace. Perhaps this is a conversation that affects you directly. We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line as we stream audio visually on our Facebook page. Just drop us something in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Lisa, let's talk about workplace dynamics, because the workplace is just full of all sorts of things. Okay, it's not as simple and straightforward as working hard and getting that promotion, and that's precisely why we're having this conversation. So in recognizing talent, I mean, we'd all love to believe that talent is recognized for what it is, and then that is what will then sort of get you promoted, as it were. But sometimes people are discouraged because they think they've got to be close to this one, they've got to have proximity to the boss to get promoted, or the office politics that come, and the structures that come with the unconscious biases that we find ourselves in. So I mean, what do you say to that? All these workplace dynamics that we've got to navigate.
Thank you, Mateko, for that, and a very very a reality in the workplace, I must say. You find some environments that actually don't have structure and system. If an environment doesn't have clear performance measures or a performance management system, you find that the way they promote, people would want to really, like you said, get closer to the bosses, and try to sabotage others, people backstabbing themselves. And those are environments which is something you actually mentioned earlier. The environment is not conducive. The environment is toxic. The environment, there is actually not teamwork. There is nothing like working together. We are not even clear on how we measure performance or who gets promoted. But companies that have great systems, that have great structures, they are clear. And I'll give an example. My previous employer, the moment you walk in, they will tell you what is required of you. They will clarify, and this is the role of the manager as well, to inform employees. The reason for performance management that we often say is actually not to punish people. So performance management is an opportunity for both the manager, or rather the employer, and the employee to get to an agreement to say, as your employer or as your supervisor, this is what I expect from you. This is what you are doing. And for employees to actually even ask questions, because one of the things employees should also remember is that they have to manage their performance. They actually own the performance management. So if you want a promotion, you need to show that you are actually interested in this promotion. So this is where we talk about you having conversations with the manager and asking relevant questions to say, so for me to be a senior producer in this company, what is required of me? What must I do? What are some of the competencies that I need? Maybe sometimes it can even be qualifications. So it's really understanding what that is required. But coming back to what you said, they are really organizations where people get close to the bosses, being likable, doing things, sometimes even talking better about their employees. And that's what we talk about. I think we've had this conversation around corporate bullying in cases where people start to just be witch hunting each other in the workplace. But this is where also we need to ask ourselves, are we promoting people that we like, or are we promoting employees that can do the job? Because at the end of the day, you promote somebody who's just wanting to create chaos in the workplace, and they become your problem, because letting go of people is actually harder than having them enter the organization. So companies need to be clear, and a good manager knows what they are looking for in terms of talent. But also important is to have training and development programs whereby if we identify potential, because also when we promote people, we are not only promoting final products, we identify talent, which you mentioned, and we take them on a program, because everybody has areas of development regardless of how good they are, because the next level requires certain competencies. They might have gaps that they need, but for those ones that try to get close because of the companies, you find that they actually lose employees. The good employees that know their worth, they know that this is not the culture that I signed up for. Most of employees are looking for value alignment, and the moment they pick that up, they will leave for organizations that they feel they'll be more valued and appreciated.
Right, right. Thank you for that. Because in us understanding what the organizations are actually looking to promote, or what the strategies are for that, we're able to understand and decide whether we want to align or not. But let's look at this conversation around visibility, which is another one that I'm also just trying to figure out, where I stand with that. Because should people be speaking up? I think especially women and young people. Is it appropriate to speak up when you want a promotion, to actually walk into, your boss's office and say, listen, I've done 1, 2, and 3, and I think I deserve to be in this position going forward? When to speak up and when not to is, I think, another one that people are struggling with. What is your advice on that?
a very important question and a very necessary one as well. And should people speak up? Absolutely. Like I mentioned, everyone needs to manage their performance. I actually have a hashtag that I use, that my career is my business. So sometimes if we also keep quiet, there are managers who are also sometimes not involved, or sometimes they see what you're doing, but they want you to actually show up. And by speaking up, we are not saying you must demand and be aggressive, but it's through these platforms in terms of performance management. And this is why I also encourage employees for them to actually take note of what they do. Every project that you work on, what were your responsibilities? Because at times people think visibility is being loud, visibility is being all over the place. Visibility is just taking ownership of your job and knowing what you are delivering on. So if I ask you right now to say, what have you done in the last 3 months? You should be able to articulate and explain to me. But if you come and you're scratching your head and you sound unsure, then we ask ourselves in terms of, do you know actually what is happening in this department? So visibility actually, like I keep saying, it's also knowing what is happening, what are some of the new developments, and at times also not just limiting yourself to what's happening in your space, but knowing what's happening, whether it's industry wide. We have what we call, you have business acumen, you have global acumen. Sometimes it's also knowing in terms of what are my own gaps. Because for people to also promote you, they must know that you are actually interested. We cannot promote you if you are not vocal about it. And being vocal is not singing about it every day. But through the performance management discussion that I mentioned, employees have what they call a personal development plan. Yesterday, I had a meeting at a client. It wasn't a performance discussion, but this is somebody I've coached for the role they are in. And they said, Lisa, it's time for me to move and get promoted. And I asked them in terms of, do you just want to move, or are you ready for the next level? And they actually posed it like, it's actually a very good question, because sometimes we just feel, I want a promotion, but we need to ask ourselves, what does this mean? And a friend of mine once said to me, to say, Lisa, if being a manager means on a Saturday afternoon I must be sitting in front of my computer, then that is not something I'm willing to sign up for. So there are also there's a price to pay, like I said. With more title comes responsibility. There are also expectations that come with promotion and deliverables. So yes, women, young people, they should speak up, but you must have evidence. We don't promote without evidence in terms of what you have done. And the good news is you can also defend your promotion. If you feel that you have been left out, if you have what the evidence shows what you have done, you can have a conversation, emotionally intelligent, crucial conversation.
Man, this was such a necessary conversation. Lisa, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I'd encourage anyone who really wants to find out about the work of the Institute of People Management based out in Namibia, that you just give it a Google and you'll be able to see, just some of the wonderful consultancy work that they do. Thank you very much for your time. Eh?
Thank you, Mateko. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Lisa Matomola, HR consultant and job finder coach. She's also Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of People Management of Namibia. It is 9:30. Very good morning, we say, to Figilele Ngwati, who's standing by with the latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa.